Os Guinness, the theologian, said that liberty requires restraint, but the only restraint consistent with liberty is self-restraint. There's a lot packed into that statement.
You've just come out with a book, Our Presidents and Their Prayers. What does that have to do with liberty or governing?
Well, one thing interesting about liberty is I want to leave them alone. I want you to be able to do anything you want to do.
Anything?
If you don't hurt anyone, but I'm not encouraging you to do it. So I want you to be free to do just about anything, but I think society and civilization need structure.
But I think on the broader question of religion and politics, I think liberty itself requires a virtuous people. In fact, Washington said that democracy requires a virtuous people.
There's a theologian by the name of Os Guinness who I like, and he says that liberty requires restraint, but the only restraint consistent with liberty is self-restraint. So I'm not saying the government should make good people out of you, but I think it makes a heck of a lot easier for civilization to exist if you have liberty and virtue. But virtue comes from the people themselves, but it helps to have a civilization that has a virtuous people. I'll give you an example. Why do people not all rob and steal and pillage? Is it because there's a law against it? No, most people have an inner feeling and belief of right and wrong. Some of us call it religion. Some of us might call it something else, a conscience. But most people believe and have something that is right or wrong. And I wanted to write a book that showed that it's really been part of our history.
The misconception of libertarian is that, libertarians are godless animals. And that's not true. And you can be, but you don't have to be. And to make society work, I believe our founders were libertarians, if you will, and many of them had a deep belief in God.
I tell people I want you to be free to do anything you want, but I don't want you to do anything you can do. And so I think liberty requires virtue. I'm a big fan of Os Guinness's book where he talks about liberty requiring restraint, but the only restraint consistent with liberty is self-restraint. So I think we get too caught up in contemporary times talking about separation of church and state that we misunderstand it such that government can't cure all social ills and can't make you a good person. Government can't save you, but doesn't mean we shouldn't have people who believe in salvation, who believe in goodness and virtue and right and wrong in government. If you don't have those people and you don't have that throughout the conscience of the public, you've got a disaster. You can't have a free society if you don't have virtue. It can't all come from government. And so I think some of it's which direction we look in. Can government cure all our problems? Libertarians want good people in government, want religion to be part of our founding and part of our country, but we don't all believe that government can make you a better person.
The bottom line is we must have virtue, we must have a religious bearing as a nation, but government's not always going to save us, and it's not always going to come from government. But if we don't know right and wrong, I think we have lost our way. I think we come unmoored, and I think without the religious foundation that guides us all, I think we have a great risk of going horribly in the wrong direction.